Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. As I had promised in the last Old War Stories, here we are in a different location, sitting in a lazy boy. I have the lights on around me back here, but there's a bright window there, so I have a ring light that is shining light on me. So I'm pretty much blinded by the fucking hot light, but you know, it just is. Hopefully this is good. As far as what I can tell, squinting at the little screen there, it looks pretty good from here. I won't know till it gets into the editor, so if the next 5 or 6 of these are fucked up, so be it. It just, you know, the story is the main thing. I'm just here for show. So anyway, this one was called Pick Us Up. This did not compute. So this harks back to, okay, 1980, so somewhere in 1980, late 1980, 86 to 89. Don't know when. Somewhere in there. Don't remember. The name Susan Rosenthal sticks out in my mind. And Susan Rosenthal was a girl that went to the same school that I did and was a couple of years older than me and was in my sister's grade. So they got to talking and they became friends. Hey, we ought to go to each other's houses. Okay, sure, whatever. So they became friendly. And she would come over to our house. My sister would go over to her house. And being the little brother, every once and again, I'd be able to tag along. Well, this one was a sleepover. A girl's sleepover or slumber party, or whatever the fuck you call it out in the Midwest. You have all these fucked up names for shit, like pop for soda and stupid shit like that. Anyways, whatever the deal was, it was a sleepover or slumber party. Anyhow, I wasn't invited to that part. They had a spare bedroom upstairs, and they said, here is your bed. You can sleep in here. The girls will be down in the living room with their sleeping bags and whatnot. Okay, so the story, if I'm not mistaken, it's all part of this whole thing. My sister and I went over to Susan's house sometime in the afternoon. We'll say, 4 o'clock. It was winter time. It was bad winter. Right in the heart of it. I don't remember what month, but it doesn't make a difference. So, it's winter time. Where do you go in the winter time? Why, the town pool, of course. Okay, let's go swimming. Now, it's enclosed. Was the water heated? Maybe? I'm not sure. I don't remember. And they had 2 pools there. They had the regular one, and they had a smaller one with the really high diving board that I was scared shit to go off of, and I don't think I ever did. Yeah, I don't think I ever did. I think I might have actually gone up there and got to the edge of it and said, no shit, can't do this, and turned back. I don't remember. But anyway, we went swimming. Now, even still, you got cold. And I didn't know this, but in this town pool, where, get this, years later, the whiff would end up working for a summer job. Who would ever figure? Okay, the town pool inside this enclosure thing, it had like this bubble thing on top. I guess it was glass, maybe plexiglass. I don't know. But the actual straight walls going down the sides of it, they had these electric heaters that were there, and there were, I don't know, 10, 12 of them on each side. I couldn't imagine how much power them fuckers were pulling. But maybe that was their only heat in there. I don't know, but I remember that thing was on, and you had like the little kind of pool chairs. They're your typical, at any public pool, whatever chairs they would have, that's what they had there. And the thing was behind you, and I remember that heat coming down. That was really nice. That was really nice. That was the only time I think I ever went there to swim in the winter, and the only time I've ever seen them on. Whether or not they still have them and in use, I don't know. We get back to Susan Rosenthal's house. Now, her parents were nice. They made themselves available. We'll be in the other room here if you need something, you know. And they didn't complain, oh, you girls are making too much noise. Keep it down. You know, they didn't play the fucking parent game like that shit. You invite a bunch of girls over for a fucking slumber party, it's going to get loud. And nobody's going to sleep. The parents eventually went to bed at whatever time they would and left the girls to play with things that were in the room with them, I guess. Not sure. But anyway, so whatever happened with that, I don't know, because I was upstairs in a room there. Turns out in the room, just as a little aside, they had a record changer. One that would play 33s, 45s, and 78s. Might have been a Garrard unit also, or a Gerard unit, whatever the... I can't remember anything with this light shining at me. And there was a record on there, and it was We Are Family by Sister Sledge. It was awesome. And I think I might have actually brought a tape recorder with me. Just, I don't know, I had it, and I brought it, and I had a tape or something. And I think I, like, held the microphone up to the speaker to record the song because I wanted it. Remember, this is 1980s, so it wasn't you could just download any fucking song you want. So, you know, kind of did that. And of course, as I'm recording this, the record fucking skips. That was nice. But anyway, that was the deal with that. So that was there. And went to sleep. Next morning, Susan Rosenthal had a sister. I believe her name was Sharon. Sharon Rosenthal. Okay, now here's the fun part. I lived in West Hempstead. The Rosenthals did not live in West Hempstead. They lived in this little annex community. Very small. There's only a few streets in there. A very small area. Maybe a total of 100 houses at the most. I don't know. Just a very small area. And maybe even 100 is too many. Maybe even more like 50. I can't remember exactly without looking at the map. But this area was called Malverne Oaks South. And Malverne Oaks South was not part of West Hempstead. It was part of Malverne, which was the next town over. So why the Rosenthals went to West Hempstead is because you could lie about certain things on forms to get into schools. And if you wrote down the name of the street and nobody was looking, you could write West Hempstead and they'd say, okay, and your kid was in. But of course, if anybody actually found out about this and like told the principal, you're getting kicked out of the school. So they always had to live under that oh shit going on there. So we're getting to the pick us up part of this. Sharon Rosenthal, this was the next morning, I remember waking up and I came downstairs and I went into their living room and they had this window there and I remember there was a radiator in front of it and there was a lot of heat coming out. It was nice and warm and cozying. Comforting and cozy. And I just sort of sat there and I looked out the window. It was low enough that you could do that. And it was snowing bad. It probably, I think it had snowed all night. I think I remember seeing snow while in the pool place. So that was that. And it was snowing. And Sharon said, okay, we have to go to the store to get stuff for breakfast. Now, Sharon was, I think a couple years older than Susan, actually. But I don't remember who was what age and what. It's inconsequential, really. Now, when you're in Malverne Oaks South, you're really more part of Malverne. And Malverne had one grocery store. And that grocery store was Seatown. This is more of a New York thing, probably. Seatown was one of these sort of independently owned type stores, smaller stores, stuff like that. Nowadays, they're owned by the Spanish. So you do find a lot of Latino and Mexicano and all of the frijoles in there that you want. But back then it was more of, no, we're Malverne. A lot of Jews live here. They have a kosher section, and whatever it was, that was the deal. So somehow, and I don't remember it being that far, but by the same token, it was that far. We walked in the snow that nobody has shoveled from their house to Seatown. The walk was treacherous, to say the least, and it's still snowing like mad. It's snowing like mad. Anyway, we get to the store. I'm frozen solid. I'm quite upset, and it's snowing, and we're kind of at Seatown and now have bags of groceries. So we come right outside the Seatown, and Sharon says, I don't really think it's a good idea to walk back. So I'm going to call home and have them pick us up. So now the fucking robot alarm bells start going off in my head. Beep, beep, this does not compute. And I'm like, what do you mean? And with that, she reaches in her purse or her pocket or wherever she had it and took out a shiny quarter and dropped it in the payphone. Yeah, for all you millennials and Gen Zs, we had these things called payphones. This is before cell phones, before that thing that you're on fucking incessantly, okay, that lights up your face like this all day because you're not ugly enough as it is, okay? Before these things, we had these public telephones, or payphones as everybody called them. And in my day, they were actually a dime, but 1983, 4, something like that, it went to a quarter. So the price went up, and nobody was happy about it going 2.5 times what it was, but you could talk longer on that quarter. Drops a quarter in the payphone. It was touch tone. We had these things then. It's not new. The phone rings and her mother, father, somebody picks up. Hi, yeah, we're at Seatown. Can you pick us up? Yeah. Okay. All right, great. Thanks so much. Okay, bye. The part that doesn't compute here is actually twofold. First of all, using a quarter to make a phone call. When you can make a phone call from your home phone for 10.6 cents. That's what it cost back in the day. So now, 10.6 cents or 25 cents, this would not fly in my family. No fucking way. You had to make a call, you were out? That shit's got to wait till you get home. Not going to overpay for the use of a public phone for the convenience of it. No, no, no. No, that would never, ever, ever do. And the second part is the pick us up thing. Now, being older, I see the idea behind how this might not be a great idea, because back then I was a little kid. So I didn't drive. I didn't know, you see your parents brush the car off, brush the snow off the car. And then you get in and off you go. You know, they start driving and it's snow. They go slow and whatever. And you slide, you slip, whatever it was. But they, you know, now for me, if you wanted to get me out in the snow, it's got to be good and damn worth it. Because for me to A, go out in the cold, and B, then have to brush off the car, warm up the car, and then drive on the treacherous roads, it's got to be worth something to me to actually do that. It's snowing right now, which is a great time to tell the story, although you're going to see this in, I don't know, fucking May, whatever it is, I don't know. So, when hopefully some of the snow would have melted. But the parents said, sure, we'll pick you up, no problem. And I'm like, to get my parents to go out in the snow? And it's not so much even going out in the snow and having to brush off the car and warm it up and all that. It's the short trip and the single stop, or special trip, as my dad called it. When I was still living at home with my parents and I was of driving age, even with my own car, my old Chevy, okay, I'm going out now. Where are you going? And I wouldn't tell them. I'd just say, out. When will you be back? Oh, probably by 8 or 9. No later than that. I'll call if it's going to be later. And I gotta say, the one thing my mother was cool about is we didn't really have a curfew. She did say that if we're going to be out past when we said, that we're going to have to call her and let her know where we're going to be and what time we expect to get in. And if we don't expect to get in until to the next morning, that's perfectly okay also. Stay out all fucking night as long as I know where you are. So she was cool about that. So now they had to brush off the car, warm it up, and drive, I don't know, 6 blocks to pick us up. And they showed up, seemed like forever, but it wasn't. And we got in the nice warm car and we drove back slow and we went in the house. And that's all I remember of the story. 2 things: the payphone, paying for a call out, and then going out for a special trip. Oh, because I was saying when I would go out in that, where are you going out? Are you going past the library? Are you going past the grocery store? Are you going past here? Are you going past there? Stop here for me. Stop there for me. Do my errands. And I'm like, no, I'm going the entire opposite way of where your errands are, and this always happened. And that was that. And I'd leave them to do their own shit, because I had my own shit to do. But for my dad to go out and leave the house, which is not often, for him to go out, it's a day's event where he has to go out and stop here, 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 and stop here. Which is interesting for a car that doesn't run much, that now you're exercising the battery each time. Yeah, it's supposed to recharge, but if your little trips are short in between, and your cranking amperage is way down, he hasn't gotten stuck, I don't know. So it was just this total bizarre thing of being able to actually drop a quarter into a payphone and then actually the parents making a special trip to pick us up. You know, honestly, if that were the case, they should have sort of driven us to Seatown to start with and then maybe waited in the car even. I don't know. But it was a bad idea to walk, and probably a worse idea to drive. My sister and the Rosenthals had drifted apart in later years when they decided that they were going to all of us, including myself, and my parents and her sister, and just the 2 families, go out to dinner. And we picked a place, don't remember, I guess it was a diner or something like that. And I ordered a burger, and my sister got maybe a burger also. But them 2 ordered lobster. And they already had a gentleman's agreement that we're going to just split the bill down the middle, whatever it is. My dad became very upset about that because obviously lobster costs a lot more than a burger. So he got pissed off about that and kind of said to my sister, "You're not seeing her anymore." And that was the end of the Rosenthals. But I remember this vividly for what it was, and all the little details and nuances I put forth there. I still remember this story and how crazy it was that people actually could be normal and use a payphone and go out in the snow and make a special trip somewhere. Quite an enlightening experience. I don't play the games that my dad does, but he still does. Alright, anyway, that's all I got on this one. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.